Is Saturn just a cat? Alp loved the nights when the sky was filled with countless stars, shining and twinkling brightly. That evening, as Alp was once again gazing carefully at the sky, he saw a star that shone differently from the others. He couldn't take his eyes off it. A huge smile spread across Alp's face as he whispered in a low voice only he could hear, "One day, I will come to you." His cat, Saturn, heard this. Saturn meowed as if to say, me too, me too, ... double quotes. Alp hugged Saturn and lay down on his bed. He picked up his book about stars and space and, as he did every night, opened it to a random page. The picture on the page showed a dark sky and a planet within a star cluster. The planet wasn't very large, it had rings around it, and its surface was drawn with bright color tones. I wonder which planet this is. How big is it really? Is it very far from us? Are there other planets nearby? Alp asked himself. The words ... yes. The words must explain it. Just then, his cat, Saturn, settled in comfortably beside him. Alp began to read, hoping to find answers to his questions. But what was this? Suddenly, the words in the book lifted off the page. Each word emitted a bright light and floated around the room like balloons. Alp tried to reach for a few. There were countless words hanging in the air above his head, to his right and to his left. Then the words began to merge and spin around the room. They spun and spun. Feeling dizzy, Alp closed his eyes, and when he opened them, he found himself inside a spaceship. He looked around. There were lots of glowing screens, buttons, and instruments. His cat, Saturn, was also staring up at Alp from his feet, with wide eyes. He was inside a spaceship, just like the ones he'd seen in movies. Alp settled into the captain's chair, which looked spacious and comfortable like an artichoke, and fastened his seatbelt. But where would he go, and how would he operate this vehicle? Weren't you the one who said, "One day, I will come to you"? Why shouldn't that day be today? A voice asked Alp. The star he had seen in the sky came to his mind. Of course, that's exactly what Alp had said to himself. It was his inner voice speaking, and suddenly, the spaceship started with a loud roar. Alp and his cat, Saturn, traveled swiftly with the ship. They had never seen the stars and planets this close before. They watched in awe at every place they passed. After a while, the ship slowed down. "We must have arrived," Alp said to Saturn. There it was, right in front of him, the planet he had seen in the book, Saturn. His cat, Saturn, meowed. They had arrived at the planet he was named after. An announcement was heard from the ship. "You have 3 units of time and 2 choices. You can use this time to explore the planet or return immediately." Alp was in an unknown place, in an unknown ship. He could see Saturn up close now, very close. He wanted to explore it. They immediately began preparations. First, finding the equipment bag, they needed to establish a solid connection to be able to return to the ship. They decided to use a large, thick cable for this. "Yes, if we tie ourselves with this, it will be easier to get back to the ship," Alp said. The cable was so heavy that he almost fell headfirst twice while carrying it. He injured his hand but finally managed to tie himself and his cat, Saturn, to the ship. Yes, he and his cat Saturn began their descent, sliding down the cable. A strong wind swayed the cable like a swing. "This wind will blow us into the vacuum of space. We should turn back," Alp said to his cat. His inner voice asked, "What's this? Are you giving up already?" Alp didn't want to give up. Why did this have to be so hard, he thought. Just then, the spaceship started with a roar. "Oh no, this must be one of the units of time. Is the first one over already?" "That was so short," Alp said. He thought for a moment that the ship was about to return, and that he had missed his chance. Then he said to himself with determination, "Yes, yes, I will not give up. I can do this. ... He reached into his bag and took out a hand warmer. The cold wasn't affecting him as much as before. Just then, another terrible wind rose. It was hard to hold on to the cable in this icy, swirling wind. He told himself again, "I can do it. ... With a hook he took from his bag, he was able to secure himself and Saturn more tightly to the cable. Despite the strong wind, they managed to advance, and yes, their feet touched the surface. But what was this? The ground they stepped on was like a swamp, or even something softer. The surface is not suitable for walking. I could turn back from here," he said to himself. A sharp meow came from Saturn, and then, "After coming all this way, should we give up without even trying?" said Saturn. Both the cat and Alp were very surprised. "You can talk, Said, Alp, I can talk," said Saturn in astonishment. The wind of his namesake planet had given Saturn the ability to speak. Alp and Saturn looked at each other in amazement. The wind was still very strong, and they needed to be quick. Just then, the ship started again. The second unit of time was up. Alp rummaged through the bag once more. With a spray he found, they managed to harden the surface. Holding tightly to their cable just in case, they stepped onto the surface. The strong wind was still pushing them, but they could move forward. It was a wonderful feeling. Alp had read somewhere that the planet Saturn was the megastar of the universe. This was a huge planet, 700 times larger than Earth. It was the largest of all planets except Jupiter. Alp had named his cat Saturn, because he was so impressed by the pictures he'd seen and what he'd read. They had been together for 2 years, and now they were on Saturn, and his cat could talk. Just then, the ship started one more time. This was the third. They had to return now. As they moved quickly, they looked for something they could take as a souvenir. They saw a small, still stone with sparkles on it, and picked it up. It was a simple but beautiful brown-toned stone. They quickly climbed back up the cable that connected them to the ship. As soon as Alp and Saturn got inside, the ship started with a loud roar. They had made it back in the nick of time. And so, they began their journey home. "Come on, Alp, get up, you'll be late for school," said his mother. Alp opened his eyes and looked around. He was in his bed. His mother had come to wake him. His book was left open on the edge of his bed. First, he saw his cat, Saturn, then the picture of Saturn on the open page of the book. After his mother left, he immediately checked his pockets. His cat, Saturn, asked, "Is it in your pocket?" Alp smiled broadly and said, "Yes, it's in my pocket," and showed the stone to his cat, Saturn.